Awuzama me wa kwa ba mfa umra DJ K Nyansa po TV so. Na ye nyina yinim se enche na date ebeto ho anka ye de be dade lumba na yie a ye nyina kra ye beka bi sa abram no ka sai de asesa na de ema mede mano ato sa asemu videos a security a bebre na kra che se court na ye maami akosu asewa injunction odi ato ayie no so chiremu se ayie no won hihye bi wo ho a ase wonim hu bi eno nti enya de se obetimi ami akwan ama ayie no akoso asabra me no kasa die asem na kwa akudru court on the 16th of October and proceedings ebe hyaase court be hyaase na ensem a ye maami akosu asewa de akoda court
Abusia memo akwaba na memao aha embra Divine Media Ghana and afi Peace World Entertainment so ene ewie migidi se nyankopon ada romanti obibia eho na bibia so ekoyie edema odasani bia we dey breaking news yensa akane se enche bia na Ghanaian high life legend Charles Kojofosu adodo na afre no Daddy Lumba edin a yedinim no Daddy Lumba watwa nananom wonse yedo abusua ebeto dwa no na arehosem ye pa na asem no baaye no ye twene srani abasa kosi se ne na wotweda ye de kwahyehe so na abra na wotweda no ba wiye no na ye nyina ye twen eda ye de be kata na chi kra na no mu na ebeto dwa se yewura opem so o sei tutu na yebo odin a ne yabo emu ase ono na ebehwe na sania ewose bibia ekobia no ono na bibia ebesi na so nti ono na ewose ohyeda ye de beye Daddy Lumba na yie enti abusuan ye de ye wo atwen emu a na 2 days ago ana se be 3 days ago na ebeto dwa se Charles Kojofosu popularly known as Daddy Lumba na yie no ebre aso se ewose yede na yie no ehihye so na eda ewose yede yie no 6th December 2025 year mu na yede beye Daddy Lumba ne final funeral right na abusuan sisi a me ne wo kasa die BBS asem kase bi asi enam so ema sisi a me ne wo kasa yi Daddy Lumba na yie nanka wose enka ye no 6th December 2025 no emba so asem no akwa kopiemu ewo court na emu nkyeremu ene asem potia enam so a ama asem wei akwa kopiemu ewo court na yede band anase injunction ato Daddy Lumba so no akugudamfo miensa DJ KA oyobi a oben Daddy Lumba yi pa wabe kasa edi ni nkyeremu aba sa eso na Paul adomo kire one lawyers atenase
so under Ghanaian law
doso nsemnemu abiebie efunu nani ama sisi ade de wo se efiri mu ba nyina no aba enti edi kan no yenkonkotie DJ KA nensem a odi abetudwa efa Daddy Lumba ensensem enam ne yire akosua sewa ena afei odobroni omon sensem a omde aba abetudwa no ho yentie DJ K Imra ye ba dia kan ye beto
ebehwehwe mu na mehu se bibiri na kasa se Germany mra enye adwuma wo Ghana minua so awuzama me wa kwa ba mfa umra DJ K Nyansa po TV so na ye nyina yinim se enche na date ebeto ho anka ye de be Daddy Lumba na yie a yenyina kra ye beka bi sabram no kasa ide asesa na de ema mede mano ato saasem mu videos a security a bebre na akra che court na ye maami akosu asewa injunction odi ato ayie no so chiremu se ayie no won hihye bi wo ho a ase wonim hu bi eno nti enya de se obetimi ami akwan ama ayie no akoso asabra me no kasa ide asem na kwa akudru court on the 16th of October and a proceedings ebe hyaase court be hyaase na ensem a ye maami akosu asewa de akoda court no won so ebe hwehwe mu na mehu se bibiri na kasa se Germany mra enye adwuma wo Ghana minua so obi kasa ekrewa eye niema mienu kire se mimi tuwe maba bedu US ene se menye citizen ne se bia meba na meba ba be wade ewa ha ma mfa mensa nhye mra bia se na me free ha na mekọ Ghana na mekọ ware a eno ne de metimi a kire se US mra encheme but utie krata na maame no ede akwa dan court no injunction no de ato so no emu nsem a osi unipa miensa abusua panyin no ena osi odobroni ena afei nso funeral home baby a emu no efia emu no ewum eno nti niema miensa ena sabre maame no echese nipa miensa eniema miensa ne yekoka ho asem. Let me put it in that way. Eniema miensa ene ye court ne akoka ho asem sa na mo no a watu no efa baabi no ebetimi akiro se ebia ayie no enwon hyehyeye ebia time ayede ehyeye time esi edi besie time ayede bededa eni baabi a ye beye yi no se utie ensemi ya maami di akoda court ya na opa kire se onu wonim hu bi wonim hu hwe na die amami ye video yi ene said ya mekan no nsem bia mahunu abonten se nkofo bibiri na kire se Germany mra enye adwuma ewo Ghana ye kase so obi citizen ewo baabi a minim se ugidi se ana unhunu mu no unu ni se edienti ena se ya na Ghana fo bi kodi nsenseme wo baabi a ya na omu sufre aban no se Ghana aban mra na yemefa wo mko ni se ntini se ohunu omu so omu ye Ghana fo enu ntini Ghana mra no wo se protect omu wo baabi omu wo bia se obi ya American ni obi ya Germany ni oba Ghana ha ne se bibi ba be ye no a America emra no anase Germany mra no wo ho kwan se wode faako asem ni si anani peku a wo mu ye ni bibie no wode wo mu be fa kwan bia so a wo person se sa nipa no a asem na to no wo ye citizen of that particular country so no na yenhwe ye maami akosu asewa akire mu a mimpo de na minim til se letter ne ba abonten na mi hu se one ne ware 2004 because ohwe first time adade lumba nyom eba abonten a na je say 90s mu ho an wo chire mu se with the help of Nigeria kusia se one man first abon cry den eba abonten eno ntie mu bebrede ni anim se bi kra na aware no ekọ so 90s mu ho till date till asemi ye na emi hu se wonom kra ware no 2004 ena womutimi enya ho kwan ekọ ware a wom ware wo Germany mramuti asem ni yiu aha na asem ne wono wom ware ye ewo Germany emranimu no wom de ware ya wo kire mu se ono kra kire mu se Daddy Lumba wo ye citizen of Germany wo ye German citizen a kire se emra bia no a enforce Germany ni obi a woye citizen obi oye temamuni bia no sa mra ni bi na bochas kodwofo so ban even though say woye your friend is saying woye Ghana ni but this is whereby it is said the order nsa akoto abrewa aduanem woye den won need etu ase so no na obi se odobroni ni sorry akosia se we ni nyina so bia abusia se de ye kyerem se sa na te de a ene na kyese ma me ni wo nyina so pa kyere se ansana ni frani so obeto bo abo no na ne nan ye den esi bibi so na ade ba ko a enura na me ne lawyer bi kasa o se kodwo ebetimi aboa eye memfa ne se odobroni ene sebe ne ma no sa semu ya abei ekire se Germany mra no ekire se o ware a waware uni ho kwan se okokọ ware baabi ede ba beka ho aware bi ebeto so bia no Germany mra ne nim sa aware no ti sa Abraham no ka say emra no only knows the marriage between Daddy Lumba and then the first wife akosia se wenti ada marriage bia no emra memfa ne se awade a Germany mra no anyintum even Ghana hakra no se o ware oba ye Ghana he ya ewe se o ware oba mokosensan bibia KMA eye bibia wiejo marriage certificate bi ho a be ma no so obe ware foforo na oba no obe ware foforo a je se watwa first marriage num me ba cho mo me yen get in twisted ye ntia nkomo ya ye nyina ye die mo ma ye mfa sebe anibre anase bia gina ba ko afa na ye mfa ni sa nkomo yi eni nto lawyer ni kire mu se kodwo ade ebetimi aboa se eye sa na tie de a ade ebetimi aboa odobroni ana ebetimi aboa wono na fam ene se Senator de Lumba eye citizen of Germany na obewo wo Ghana no sa ne citizenship no ekova ne babia obewo bia se Daddy Lumba ba Ghana no obewo ma 1000 krana sa nkwada ni nyina no German for eba jo tie ni you apart from say oni akosia se wa ma no wo mo ye citizen wo mo ye German for no Daddy Lumba be naturalize be ye Germany ni no se okọ Ghana okọ Togo okọ Cote d'Ivoire no okọ wumpo a ye consider sa nkwala ni nyina se wo mo nyina nso ye friend saying wo mo ye German for enu nti eno ene se bia Germany court no anase German mra no che niema ebetimi agina so aka se da bi apart from say okọ ware baabi foforo no awade ne de yanyi ntum na emom ne ma ne de wo mo ye citizen wonom memfa ne se German kuro ne emma enu nti nya de a ebetimi a cha ade ne yetwa nkwada na ye den yetwa wo mo agya ebajo tie nkomo ni yie apart from say Daddy Lumba obe naturalize ma Germany eman no a che se wone ne yire eware German aware a aware no ekirem krata no mu asam na meka yo epacho nya bosirem ka enya mitirim asam na meka ekire se wone ne yire akosu asewa wonom ware Germany aware Germany aware no nso emma ho kwan se be ma se o ware fof o ware a o san ebekwa akware biem unless sa first marriage no baby amuko gina yekoye I do no mo san akwa gina wo ama fani mienu age atom se e free na ekro meni asomasi bibia ni yentem biem eno ne de wo ho kwan se utimi ekọ baabi ana wo ho kwan se utimi ware ma bia wo ye den ope but yetie de ni yetie sakrata ya ba bontin dia na kire se Daddy Lumba one ne yire the first wife no se bibia no we kire se no one no agya ware eno nti eho no ene mra no eye den ejina na edi asem no eno nti se otena baabi na ka se Germany mra enya adwuma wo Ghana in fact you are mistaken even ye embassy wo we the last time me call US embassy na wo Ghana na wo esi Ghana asase so no ye ka chem se unye wura embassy ho a Ghana mra nya adwuma e wo sa mpatam ho sa dan ni mu biem unye wura American embassy German embassy e wo Ghana esi Ghana asase so a de omo kira ne se emra bia no a anase de ekoso wo bia ya de German for ye ya de America for ye even though say dynasty Ghana for asase so enu nti e was you take this into consideration na momma yen twist niema na yen pai bo aye bo ne say akoma badwo Sanse mimi momu de me worried and say papa na some oka say mo mami wu achi ensesa enye sa me kra ebedi arehuo bebre eno ena yere se nipa wote ase ano na afi wawu na akiri nsensem bebre akiri nsem wo eba no enya asem keto a eno nti yenhweniem yema etuo nkotwere de atwere sade ebeya papa no yebetimi asie no because ade ba kwa medwen so ne se Ghana for ye wade bi wo ye ho se nipa wu na manso ba ho a ye fa ne se sa nipa no a wawu no ebi kura no a na wonye no kwafo enu nti awreho a so bekai a that Lumba wu ye within the first week the whole Ghana even uhu akwala akora na otim se waye muso fiseni ehu ne se legend bia ye den ewu legend bia to efri se ensemi hyehyehye asie kame ye se that Lumba kora ho adwen ye efri nkofo tirim enu nti sede ne nkowu ye nke be ye yie nanimu animu ne nkonkofo nya sympathy no omode akwa yie no enei obi be kwakra kiro se o ne se that deal owu ye kura no me patcho me nim se asema meken wate ase a se nipa wu ne manso ba ho a ye fa ne se sa nipa na wawu no ebi kura na wantoto ne niema yie enu nti anhwa na awreho ne yawudi a ka nipa ne de be kwa yie na wakoma that the last respect no afei ewie akire no nipa dodo a na wose ko no na bi kura na wuchemu a na enu ohamu nchichemu ba aduasa sanso obi afa ne se ebi kura no a eye sebe ejapade e na ne yire no mo ye den epre me pa cho ti asam na make ni yo me nka ne sa na emum de me chere se eye nipa nsusuye enipa adwene a ye dwene ne 24/7 enu nti ye mpa ibo ne se sansemi a ekoso yi free 16th ena court be shase edi sansem no sanse ye maami akosu ase wa de sansemi edi akwakodan court a wo kire mu se obi ani ho kwan se wo sheda de Lumba ni date obi ani ho kwan se wo kire ba bi ebe yi wa bra wono ene ne ma no anyi ntum sanse that Lumba o se oye citizen edi ma German kuro no abusia yentie sankomo we course ewo miankasa mission city one yena ne entem na yemrasisia
Daddy Lumba ehun komo kakra na yedi wa free me yedi ni na wotweda ayiyo na wotweda no hu nsem kakra de but ema mienu bi na eko na baako ye akusua asewa yese ne yire pani na ekire so na oba one no eti Priscilla Oforia nkofo friend odobroni okay ayiyo no beba eno a abusia de date na betudwa o ma kire baby poti e be ye ayi no ana opaye da sorry ya oba na eye nhokani na odikan na kosu asewa banze ne bra dodo na obono Germany abontin so o de krata aba se omontwe ayi no nsensen na krata ni mu nsem ni bi ni se 1 one Daddy Lumba eware wo mrem ewo Germany abontin so 2004 eno mo ware na German emra ne kire se untumi san ware oba fufuro 2 osese ono ye yire pani ni kunu ayiyo no ote ho enkabo internet so one ne ma ehihye bi enu ho a omwom ti saade a ode tabo no to ayiyo no so oba no ho kwan se ode tabo no to ayiyo abusua se eda sei ni ebeye no
ma minchire mu sei ansa ne ebeye yi no onse to say the make answer your kwan fa so ma abusua na te na abusua no so ama wukuna ni no so wante ho no eye ne hyehyɛ de ye bia no sebi de bia ntimi ntwekuna ni ma ti amakuna ni yi ne hu nipa ebem ti hyehyɛ bia ye bia na nisem ti se bibi na adesede bi o aye de fa ho ene ye de asere se bia date we de bia ne yedwumade bia kwa akuhia ti madama ene we ya adesede o se mu yehu bibi ne be ya munya
oba ne wo se osere ewa busua no
ti se de meka nipa no nya wupa abusua japade
oba oni tumi
ti abusua ne wo so tumi
oba ne ni
tumi wo ye yere oni so tumi wo ye ba oni eso tumi
so bi to a emma oyere oni nipa na wato ni so tumi
da bi di abusua no
busua ne trade
bia wo bia no de fa abusua no so sɛ ma no mpo mo pɛ sɛ mo gye ayi ne ya mo kɔsrɛ firi abusuafo
obusua se yɛmfa mama mo ntimi nyɛ ho
mo ntimi nyɛ ho
na ntimi nyɛ wo de
dabi sɛ nyɛ wo de enti we ya yɛ kan no ensɛmbusa bi wɔ ho wo se yɛhwɛ ayi ne hyehyɛ na yɛyɛ no kunani no hu nipa ka ho ana
say utie honorable Collins committee no mote no oba ne fam oba odikan oba otosumi enu fam abusua ene obi a osefata bia no e wo committee no so aban esi
ana so wo mu dia ene ni kunani ni se na mu na se bo kunani na ma ne se
omo hye date
ya dia da hyeda sei
net homra no and customary ordinance we no emamu
Germany mra no Ghana oman bia won jurisdiction and oman bia wo autonomous so what she mra
okay
Ghana ha baby a Ghana mra nya adwuma embassies
yeah oman nanka se wa hana embassy ni wo ye man mu han ye mra no nya adwuma wo sa embassy hon
and even criminal act be crazy wa omo and
responsible
customary law
yeah
they are shana na monsa ya mamra na ma ho kwan and the issue be a customary affect even court is here and as a hinsama you got just say this a matter affecting chieftaincy the court in any jurisdiction
under German law no man who is already legally married can enter into another marriage. This is clearly stated in the German Civil Code. It is a Germany hona no peso
ojina so bro for na da pa
yeah
ni nyina say Germany wanka Ghana asem
wow
Ghana so na ewe into the nyama lawyer for no omo abeka ho asem
it was in a crack no say legal action say due to the confusion and lack of proper communication from the funeral committee the direct family has filed an injunction on both the date and barrier arrangement until proper dialogue and consensus are achieved.
You ready be say
any case
you ready be say Ghana court e Germany
and
atum say
enti abusia no DJKA ena wahwie ono na fam de e agu ho no no na abusia obeka ya video na DJKA e body chat no eye abusia pani na o kasa no na o kire mu se nipa an bema okoware a wonya ware wi a wa ba beye abusia wonya ware a wone wo yere ene wo mma ena mobom abusia na emom se bema no anase oba no efri mu a wa ba beye abusia dia enye ena anase oyere anase emba no edia enti se oye ba na se wo papa free mu a na se bia wo pese wo ye yie na e wo se wo kwa abusia ho na okoko hu abusia na omotena ase na omo ye nhyehyeye na omo hwe kwan a omo befa so a omo so omo be ye omo afem de aboa ema omo de aye yie no untumi ngina ba bi enka se oye me kunu oye me papa enti menko a metena me ba bi aye maye enyen saa because saa bre na wa free mu no de oye abusua de onye eba anase ayiri bia de na mmum oye abusua de saa ensem we ya papa yi editu dwan Paul Adom Ochre lawyer ewo good evening Ghana so eye Endra oto nsa frɛ lawyer baako ema omotena ase etwetwe nkomo na oma biebie ensem na ni so sane etie an se ewo se odobroni anase eyire no mu baako na ode injunction ato ayie no so no owo ho kwan se ode mmara anase ode injunction ato ayie no so anase oni ho kwan yankwe ni yankotie Paul Adom Ochre lawyer one lawyer na bra omotena ase na omo pensen nsem o good evening Ghana no yenti omomra
So under Ghanaian law, once you marry under the ordinance, you cannot marry under any other system. So if Kwame takes Ama and they either go to the marriage registry, they either go to the registrar general, or they marry in a church and knows that it's also specific, because there are some churches that have the authority to issue the certificates. So for instance, Methodist, Presby, Catholic, and then some of the recognized churches that have the authority to issue certificates. Once you marry there, you cannot marry anywhere else.
Once you conduct an ordinance marriage.
An ordinance marriage, you cannot marry even under custom.
Yes, you can't marry under custom.
You cannot marry. Yeah. It's bars you. So it is ordinance in Ghana and ordinance in the equivalent in UK, in Germany, in anywhere. So also under German civil law, once you contract a marriage under ordinance under German civil law, you can equally not marry under any system again.
It's strictly monogamous.
It's strictly monogamous. A similar thing.
And this is the marriage that she's alleging was conducted in
Germany, and no order for dissolution, no divorce.
Since then, there's been no order.
There has been no order.
Does she explain the separation of she and her partner in the writs anyhow?
Well, the thing is, the ambit of divorce is strict. Separation doesn't come in. Divorce is a legal technical term. Was the order given by the courts?
So you mean divorce is not gleaned by behavior?
No.
It should be found out from the fact.
Yes.
Presented before a court, which grants the application.
Yes.
Until and unless such an application is granted, under the law, the parties are deemed married.
Married, yes.
Okay.
Either that, or if it's under custom, you have to perform the specific rites that are recognized under custom. So, for example, for the Akans, you have to come back to the woman's family and the woman would give you the drink. Often, when they give you the schnapp, they can give you maybe 3-4 bottles of schnapp. The family is supposed to keep one. They can drink 2 or 3, but they must keep 1 bottle.
As evidence?
Yes, as evidence of marriage. And that bottle will also be returned in occasion of divorce.
Okay, so if you marry under ordinance in Germany,
yes,
and you come to Kumasi, can you divorce that marriage? Can you dissolve that marriage by a traditional process?
No.
If you undertake a traditional process, it will be null and void?
It will be null and void. Traditional process can only be applied to traditional marriage. That is the return of the drinks. So for instance, under Islam, they have certain specific rites they perform where the man can say talak, talak, talak. After obviously they've seen the imam and there has been investigation as to whether the divorce has broken down. And then after that, they are supposed to have that divorce also registered at the local district. So those are the ambits for which this has not been done in this instance. And so once you do that, you commit a misdemeanor.
Once you marry whilst you are in another marriage legally.
Yes.
Which is what she's alleging that Daddy Lumba did.
Yes.
With Odobroni.
Odobroni. That is, if she's able to substantiate or show that indeed they married.
If he writes to my wife Odobroni, and now she's saying that Odobroni cannot be described as a wife, so will they simply delete my wife and leave Odobroni to have the property? So that is, or what is going to happen?
So that is when they would have to engage the courts in an interpretative exercise. So we call that proving a will in solemn form. So proving a will in solemn form means that you are now we have proven the will in common form and proving the will in solemn form. In this instance, you are challenging some provision in the will. At times it can be maybe the signature did not look appropriate. At times it can be the description the person gave to one of the children. You know that maybe Mr. A was fighting with his child, but now in his will, he is describing that child as my dearest boy. Those things can be challenged. But that would have to be. But
when it's challenged, does it nullify the entire?
It is the court that makes
document, it takes that out and keeps the rest.
Oh yes. So long as it's the specific provisions that you challenge in court. So if you are challenging provision A, that this goes to or this is supposed to come to me, that is what we are dealing with. The court may not say that the will in and of itself, unless maybe you are challenging a part of the will that targets the essential validity of the full will. Okay.
During the trial, if during the trial the family has been sued, isn't it?
The head of family. That's another part.
Is a defendant. Is there something about it in law?
Yes,
is
but that's another part argument. So that's another.
Is that not the right person to sue?
No, that's the right person to sue. But there's also a legal discussion about who has the rights to plan the burial of an individual. So the law, and this will actually come as a shocker to many people. So assuming this person is called Samuel, and Samuel writes a will that he wishes to be cremated, or he wishes for his body to be given to Kolebu for scientific purposes. When he dies, nobody is under a legal obligation to give his body to Kolebu or to cremate him. The rights that accrues to the rights concerning the planning of the funeral accrues to the family of Samuel. And so once you die, the property is not vested. Your body is not yours.
It's for the family.
It's more or less
so
for
they
the family.
decide whether
So
they
they
will honor
decide-
what you want to do.
Exactly.
So they are going to have their funeral.
They are going to
They
have their
need not
funeral.
consult her.
Uh-huh.
They need not consult her.
Yes, but the thing
Must
is,
they invite her?
but good. So under Akan customary law, which was what I said earlier, there are specific functions the widow must play at the funeral. So they cannot, as family, also oust the widow from performing those functions at the funeral.
If they do not recognize her as the widow because they say over the last 20 years we haven't seen her, our son, our brother, our uncle had a very bad toxic relationship with her. We don't want to see her. She's the reason why our uncle died. Odobroni has come into his life and made him better. Without Odobroni, he would have died 10 years earlier. If they say these things, is it inconsequential to the law?
She's the widow.
But
So
that's if
it's-
she succeeds.
That's if she succeeds. She's the widow. And so the relationship, the whether or not the relationship was good. So 2 years ago, in March 2023, I attended the funeral in Kumasi, close to Kwamo, Parkoso. I don't know if you know that place.
Yeah, it's my village.
I attended the funeral there. A similar thing. The man was in UK, married the woman, ordinance and everything. As time went on, the marriage was, problematic. He got a second wife. Now at the funeral,
Second wife in London.
Ghana.
Okay.
So she was here. The plan was he had passed 60, and so he wanted to come to Ghana and then marry the second one,
Yeah.
more or less, after finalizing a divorce. That was his intention. But when he came, the issue was that she was the wife. The first
The
woman,
UK one.
the UK woman was the wife. And so the consensus of the family was to allow both of them perform. So she came, she did her procession. The first wife came, did the procession with the things that they used to wash the corpse. And then the second wife also came and also did her procession with the things they used to wash the corpse. Interestingly, it almost became
Fracas.
at the grounds of the funeral.
Is it not really in law a conflict of laws question?
Yes.
Where German law is clashing with Ghanaian law, and therefore, because if the family knows Odobroni, then it suggests that there has been some processes between Daddy Lumbe's family and Odobroni's family for
recognize
Lumbe's
her.
family to now recognize her, and then he as an individual has also contracted a marriage in another jurisdiction. It's a clear case of conflict of laws, isn't it?
Yes, but the thing is, once marriage is contracted somewhere, it is deemed recognized throughout the world.
Globally.
So marriage contracted in Ghana. So in fact, you can have an American citizen come to Ghana to contract marriage in Ghana, to get married to somebody. They would go to church in Ghana and sign. Once he goes to the US, though the marriage was contracted in Ghana, it is also applicable in the US.
So US will recognize that.
US will recognize that. And in fact, the lady can even use the marriage as a basis. Many people do it. The lady
travel.
Yes, to travel.
Yeah,
And
that is his wife.
That is the wife. And the
Irrespective
American
of the fact
government, it happened here.
Yeah, but if the marriage is celebrated by the American citizen in Ghana as a traditional marriage, not as an ordinance marriage, it's a traditional Ghanaian traditional marriage, which is polygamous.
Yes.
Potentially polygamous. If that American goes to America, his law, his matrimonial law, the only matrimonial law that exists in America is monogamy. The polygamy is unknown to American jurisprudence in that regard. If you have gone to conduct a polygamous marriage, would America recognize your marriage as polygamous? And therefore, that you can potentially marry more within the context of the same traditional marriage?
You can only marry more within the context of the traditional marriage.
Yes, absolutely.
That's so.
Will America recognize that?
Yes.
Okay, so if in that regard, you have married another woman, so you marry a Ghanaian traditionally, then you marry a South African traditionally, then you marry an Angolan traditionally, because all of these cultures allow the traditional polygamy thing. And then you file for their documents and you have 3 wives. will the American State Department recognize that an American citizen has contracted a marriage that allows him to marry 3 wives when that is contrary to U.S. matrimonial causes?
With an American citizen. Now,
yes, the man is an American citizen.
The man is an American citizen.
Yeah, he's married 3 African women at different times under a system that allows him to marry polygamy. He's in America. He wants them to have American citizenship as well, as spouses of American citizens are entitled. So he presents 3 spouses to the State Department. As give them all Americans because they are all my wives. But American law does not recognize that. In fact, it deems that as immoral.
Yes. So as an American citizen, now the dynamics have changed.
Yeah.
Because it's different if it was a Ghanaian citizen who is subject to Ghanaian law that respects and recognizes custom.
Okay,
as an American citizen, he is bound by American law, which does not recognize such potentially polygamous marriage.
So then an American citizen cannot reasonably contract a monogamous marriage in Ghana. He cannot.
Because, an American citizen?
Yes, an American citizen cannot conduct a monogamous, a polygamous marriage in Ghana. He can't.
He can contract a potentially polygamous marriage and possibly convert that potentially polygamous marriage
to an ordinance
marriage.
But I'm saying
even in the US,
if he conducts the polygamous marriage in Ghana, he's not allowed to take on another.
No, he's not allowed to take on another.
Because his personal law does not allow it.
Yes, his personal law, which is American law. As an American citizen.
Treat me like one of your students. Let's come to Daddy Lumba. Daddy Lumba is Ghanaian. The law that governs his life is Ghanaian. He finds himself in Germany. He's going to marry. He goes through a German process.
Yes.
He does not know that this process is contrary to the Ghanaian marriage process. He understands that he's getting married to somebody, as he would have gotten married to him in Bushe in Kumasi or Kwadasu in Kumasi or something like that. So he contracts the marriage. After a while, he's not quite interested in the marriage. He tells the family that I'm not interested. He comes to Ghana and marries Odobroni. As far as he is concerned, within the context of his personal law, has he committed an offense?
Yes.
Why?
Because the existence of ordinance is a matter of law. Now, despite the existence of his personal law, he has decided to subject himself to a legal system that says that you are only entitled to marry one woman under that system. Once you have subjected yourself, and that's why there are many Ghanaians that go abroad, subject themselves to that system, and are barred from taking another person as a wife. Now,
let me bring the question back to America again. Treat me as one of your students. An American senator, his son goes to Harvard, meets an Iranian woman who also comes to Harvard. The Iranian woman is strictly governed by Islamic law. He gets married to the Iranian woman in Tehran under Islamic law, which allows him to marry 4 or 5 women. Does the American jurisprudence recognize that this American citizen has contracted a marriage that is opposite to the American marriage system? If it doesn't, after he's married this Iranian woman, he marries another Iraqi woman, and then he marries another woman from Jordan. 3 wives, and that's Islamic law. He's able to do that. Now he says, issue them with American passports.
But what is his personal law as an American citizen?
But that's what I'm saying. Lumba's personal law is Ghanaian. It's Ashanti.
But he subjected himself.
So the American guy subjected himself to Islamic law.
But who is the administrator? You see, in this instance, there is fixed statutes.
What does that mean?
The statute is I can't find a law.
I know what statutes mean. What Parliament will pass.
What Parliament will pass, and Parliament is
Mm-hmm.
fixed. Parliament has said this is the law that applies to persons who marry with this procedure. So if you want to marry multiple persons, he should have contracted customary marriage. He should have come here in Ghana, gone to Kwamu, and gone to marry multiple persons. But because he intended for it to be monogamous, that is why he took her and married her according to monogamous law.
He was unaware that he was doing a monogamous law because this lady is Ghanaian.
Oh, they would have told.
And so, because this lady is Ghanaian and he's Ghanaian, and they find themselves in Germany and they want to get married. And in Germany, if you have to get married, after you do the adwa and the deba, you still have to go and sign something. As far as he's concerned, that's what he was doing. Because his personal law is Akan customary law.
But you have subjected yourself knowingly, and you must know. You must know the ramifications of the forms of marriage you intend. In fact, at that sitting, when you are signing, the officer would inform you that this is what you are getting yourself into.
That is 30 years ago.
So how he forgot?
Did the officer inform? Do you know?
Oh, but that is what's supposed to be
But
done.
then
The officer issuing the certificate will tell you.
State Department should issue all the 3 women with American passports if the young American man has married one Iranian under Islamic law, after that married a Jordanian under Islamic law, and married an Iraqi under Islamic law.
Iran recognizes, Iraq recognizes,
Yes.
Jordan recognizes,
Yes.
America doesn't recognize.
Why won't America recognize?
Because that is America's law.
So Lumba is Ghanaian.
But
He's
that is
Akan.
German. That is German law. So once you have subjected yourself to, when you go to Rome, you do what?
But the Americans subjected himself to Islamic law to marry the Iranian guy.
So if you've subjected yourself to Islamic law, you subject. But don't come and force the American states to adhere to the terms of your choice.
So the American states will ask him, choose the wife you want us to issue the passport.
Yes.
Because we are going to issue to only one wife.
And even that one, once you choose, make sure you come and perform American marriage. One that is
I see.
recognized.
So
that is why I said that monogamous marriage.
As it is, the American State Department will not recognize that polygamous marriage that you have gone to do.
Yes, so it may be recognized for other purposes. But for the purpose of papers, issuing of papers and all those things, it is only one wife that has been contracted under a monogamous system. That is why when you come to Ghana and you go to Christ the King and you marry at Christ the King, you can still use that to apply for papers in the US. That is why when you go and marry at AMA, you can still use that to apply for papers in the US. But if you go and marry...
Because it fits with US
exactly.
law.
Enti abusia emu entremu na lawyer apraku Japan wahwie ade agu honom no na abusia okiremu a akosi asewa asisi a ode asem no akwakopie mu ewo court akwaje injunction na de ato dade Lumba eyie so no some way somehow or you right because of emra ewo Germany isan say dade Lumba abra oye no ho ade no bibia ni honom a ekere se one na jai enti bibia ni honom a ekere se one na jai ne de still oye ne yere I was say enhihye bia efa na yie hu no was say oba mu bi na mum sa wo de ba akan yamamre mu dia bema efri mu a oye abusuan ne dia enti no dia abusuan pe ena mo beye dia abusuan pe se omo de ayie ni fa no eho ena omo de befa but according to akosi ase wade na ode akwa mu e court no o kiremu a abusuan no osi wo mo saa eso ena eye baabi a emu no eda baabi a ye deda de Lumba na mu na akwa akosie no omo so osi wo mo en other one so a eno so eka ho enti sisi a no asem no eni ya yenyan ai eno ena DJ KE kan eno mo amototo ayampia de ba park no mo amototo mobile de ba park no so no ekeka nsem hunu sebe se ai ena dade Lumba kura no wantoto ne niama yie ebi mu kura kiremu a aware mienu kura no enye dabi enye saa netie Sadiq Adams a oye morning show host awo Angel TV ena afi Angel FM Accra ono so edina no ato saa ensem yi mu bi na ono de o kiremu a de ekoso no nyina no enya de a enwanwa isan se obrempon efri mu legend bi ti se dade Lumba efri mu na se saa nsem we nyina no ankoso ewo ni wu achi a dabi na chese ne legend na oye no krampo no anka awie peye ewo se saa niam we nyina no esi na wama references ne examples bebre a o kiremu a ye won crofo bebre wo hono atitiri ni ani ntini bebre wo hono a omu free mu a saa niam we nyina no ekoso abra omahwere omonkwa na asa omakọ omukreachi enti we enye first time ena we so enye ade bia wanwa etese Ghana ya twintwintwan mano kokọ ese ai ena dade Lumba dabi se wonti ase a nyantobo ase na pe obi na onkyere omu yie edikan yawo amamre kwan so ewo ho saa so ene yewo emra kwan so enso ewo ho sisi a no dade Lumba na abusuafo no omo ka no amamre kwan so ena akosi asewa a ye dade Lumba yere no ono nso ne de no ono so de nam embra kwan so enti saa ensem mienu no enya de a ebetumi ahia unless say court na tenase ani abusua no mienu nyinaa no eyire no mienu no abusua no nyinaa atenase aye nhyehyeye emanti ase aye adwuma ansa o mama kwan Daddy Lumba yie ne de ahyehye so till then ne de Daddy Lumba yie no sane medi nkan ka kire no yatu anase ye de band atoso ye postpone aye nim da kora abusua anase entiase ebe ya adwuma ema ye de Daddy Lumba na yie no ahyehye so na ansa na yebetie Sadiq Adams ne nsem a ode betu dwa no mamenfa aseda ema traffic fools omo ena ebo machidom ema me de saa update nyina eba abesom omo se men kan cho se wo UK wo US wo Canada na se open local food me kire nduane a ye o Ghana ha nyina bi adidi a bomodian na fa numbers na etwagu ewo screen na se no na place you order sisia na omonfa aduane no emra emesom saa eso ena oye outdoor oye engagement event bia oye bia a wo pese omome serve aduane ewa ase emfa mawo no eno so omobeba abeya mawo eha Divine Media Ghana senia wo hwe no Daddy Lumba na yie a sisia ye de band atoso eno ho nkoma na yeguso a ye twetwe no won so betumi e de o comment aba na ya gibre akenkan ama Joyce akwa ose asembe nkurani ya asem o na emom Sadiq Adams de ose enye asem bia enwonwa se obi a oyetitiri te se Daddy Lumba efrimu na se sansem nyina ankoso ewo ni wu achi a na che se Daddy Lumba ne legend na oye no kra no enwie peye yenkwai ni yenkotie Sadiq Adams ono so ne submission a ode bae on this Daddy Lumba ni wu achi ene na yie hu ensensem a aba betu dwa no yentie ne mra
Chi imu ne betu dwa se Ghanaian music legend Daddy Lumba na yie ebekoso December 6 2025 afimwa e Baba Yara Stadium na chese nyina ye kwadwo Ghana fo nyina kwadwo ye kugya no kwan December eda etoso ensia na asemi beto dwa no na wotwe kra mai amanfo hinte se yie no enya ade se beba so eno akrata bi every court abeto abonten a ekire se Charles Kwadwo Fosu Daddy Lumba na yie no enya ade se ebetimi akoso saada no enam se krata edam animu ya mebe kan de akire mo anopai emu nsem yi ne mako no ekire se Daddy Lumba ayi no injunction ena obi akwaje de atoso na abrebia na otai etiase no se owu achi areho na sansem nyina okai si a amanfo afi no mu bi hu de nti a obo nwoma o se owu achi de areho nti na meti ne su enye owu na me be wu but owu achi areho na asemo a esisi we akire no eya ade a ewo se esi mesha se de free de yeye hu ene nkrata edam animu yi se ade we ensia na nka Daddy Lumba onye legend ewo se esi spiritually because nipa bia obebo bra adu that level menka sikabra ba obebo bra ma amanfo pu behwe no ana yebo ni din afe apem oha achi a obi be ka ye etete hai 100 years achi ebebo bebredin obi kura hu se aba wiase ye abusuafo ene ubusa se wo nana near friend is say a bad diama, one na. But who yenche be 120 years my. Nemo mobi a yebebo ni din na ne bloodline obi a person of asa din no. Ne ma bebre be change omu din omu nana mu be change omu din ahyeda de fosu atoaso kwadwo fosu atoaso. Ama okọ ba bia aka se edin we de matida na waka se me nana ne Daddy Lumba. Senka wa enema esi ensi anache se onye musicians bebre wu afia me esi omu bibia ensi akiri. Bibia ensi akiri. By your list of people bia omu was several fields of life. So Ojitum said that Lumba a legend. Na niema we osesi. Mesha said they free anyum to fum. Michael Jackson aye boni dino. Owu ye chi besi nne na sem wo court. Ne ma ene na busuafo. Eda so wo court. E wo niema bia obeye no abrabom. Na omu hu ne se e wo se omu ho na eba. Ni din ne nyom ni face contracted daso ni nyina ne ma no ene na busuafo ekon wo ho. Enti saa niema we no esima ohu se nipa no oye icon. Ne estate Michael Jackson as of now ne estate oye ne will oyi ne papa frim amfa ne papa din amam ne will no she that is nipa mienu nsa John Branca ne John McLean a omu nyina nya abusuafo amanfo nte ase ni music catalog ene ne likeness revenue ne pe amanfo pe na asem no sika efrimu ba besi nei entokwa da so da ho. Allegations of Nifie Neverland ene ti Daddy Lumba fi ombeko ho dan na wotim no ntokwa besi wo ho enye se eye fie efe ba because Daddy Lumba fi ni no se obi nsa kana wo ka se oton a sikani bi beba beto na ebuo be se de oha mobo ho oha enti enema bi sei na ma ohu se nipa no a legend mo ka se na anu ade 2016 na Prince owuye the Prince musician ne cultural icon asat now Prince died without a will. And minim said that Lumba wa willa. Musician Prince, he died without a will. Nisika wonya ye nyina no. More than 30 people and the dear court to say, or ye omabusia for omoniama, ni nema ye omu obi wom. Ene that's war court. 6 years. And assembly back wo muguso omoka. Ni vote content and nyoma oboy ni CD. That Lumba nyom ni CD or ye ni nyina no. And who trouble best attenche appear to smooth baba betrayed Prince. Nasem da so court to 2016. Another icon and di entwamuda ye friend Diego Maradona. Make us uko Argentina every month omotna nasem so. Multiple women eden kwada ba say omo papa no ampa obi aso be ba hwe ni ti ne haita na ose no. Owuwie ye ne ye be kan ne ma. Se anya sa menka se eye anase suban no omo ne ye but enye omo a. What is within them no it is bigger than what they can control. So tie Lumba nyom ne bia ose ba bia okokọ no ode da bonten ema ehwehwe no otete omo ema trappe no na mai won omo trappe wumpu no hwehwe omo no omo ai trappe enti se wote abonten ne na oka na chi asem wa mobra na wabusa won se wo kwahwe akwa mpu no ompena yesen baby Lumba drew ya 93 na oba na ministers eko airport akohwe se hwan na efre no kwadwo fosu a waje Ghana nyina 93 no a obo makramo ema ne trendy ye no sabre no na ema kesifo mo Ghana obi a penimu aso enei wo ba bia ampe but upibi nso unya bi. You have to understand what it means by someone being a global icon, a national legend. Ntina mebo bosso approve yamao enei Diego Maradona. There were legal investigations into ne properties awanya. Multiple women have come to claim to be his wives. Multiple children have been brought, say ne money, paternity disputes. Eguso ekoso years after ne death. Eno ne man ye legend. Or wo nkrobe edunsia eso. But na ne man ye 12. Uwie ye the 4 abeka ho. Ye paternity test a check yashe. Me mo areta flanking me mo. Me masu ewom e mani bi wom a omo inheritance enyema besi ho Whitney Houston menim se munyina munim Stan Lee me hwe Bob Marley na men kan we ne hwe ne de multiple women nechino protracted inheritance disputes. In Krobioha, a man for Chen dan was so after ne show. One fan in Kratanto so. Uwuria na fe ensemo si achire. Ne catalog ne nyom nechino and ne your legal dispute and ye actually so 1970s mo na Bob Marley we are na 80s mo 80s Bob Marley 80s I think say 87 if I'm not because on 86 87 or Thomas Sankara there is some 1 year or something at them ye no and family members no some of them were cut off court to say man main or mokra said the AC Lumba di court to beka se mabusu ani bi maye ni bi 81 year. From 81 till now, legal disputes over ne catalog, ne image rights, egusua ekoso. Eno ne bema edino atnache. Eno ne tre say adia nyamidi dua ni mu no esun time. Said they no obesi control no. They were human. Se me ba Fela Kutia, 27 women came forward after the death. As at now, Bena boy more lineage munyina ye body asat na ntokwa da abusuanu mu a omo try some be back together or say after his death dispute emerged over his estate from multiple women claiming to be wives on say ni nyina ade a the same team multiple women claiming to be wives children ide omo beba or say no we say obewo me Mozambique obo show wa ha no ne me be wo ye we say oba land no ne me be wo ye it is the late Eden more mose ombetima control ade na nyame de ache no ene said de mo sichire esetia invite people to them no enya ade amene o mienu ebetima control that edge one person a mechanic de ebe mo kakra Nelson Mandela ne legendary status any the greatest African even meba Kwame Nkrumah so amanfo enim se Kwame Nkrumah e ma bi ba abonten be ka se ne ma enei seku Nkrumah ene ne mani bi kon Nkrumah Gamal ene seku e wo other side yenim se Samia wo ho ene yenim Francis Nkrumah Kwame Nkrumah kwa wo no abrichi a owu wieye ene obe claim se ne papa ne Kwame Nkrumah ohwe ne moma so na hwe ne tirinwi a ye hia di ene but enkura bebre pie ya Kwame Nkrumah wu achi no because of the circumstance wu ye nti o ma ntimi amayi enka ho ene yie na se asembesi nti sa legends we nyina o ma yie enkoso da ye behye no enya Ghana nko even the likes of Nelson Mandela as at now Muhammad Ali ewu 2016 as at now 9 children and about forward 4 women and so oware omo only 2 of them na dan krata so 4 no omo so omo won krata no 2 more I ban year 6 so oni omo wo ye 9 children at least entry no na the estate of over 80 million no na chese meka estate aniema owu ya oja na chi no asem da so ne ex-wives ni widows and some of the children omuguso e fight over an asset say on mo bra bia nru ba bia ye wo mo omoko omusika ho obi o ha ni sika nti na omoko ho ba edin na edani pa ne so no na omoko ho anei Daddy Lumba enye na japade oja na chi ne yire na o ne na eko anei no ana na yire na odi asem na me be chirechim na kokot no ebi kro wo skaten Daddy Lumba enye no edin Daddy Lumba no hwan ene ema ne kwan se omeye ni kuna na enyense na ho se na ono ene ye Daddy Lumba ni kuna fo eno ne mu enye esikafo bebre ewu am ya hye omo yie data ntokwa wo yie ne ho bi ante. These are things that happen. Albert Einstein oko science mu a edi more than 40 years after his death and son no more resolving niema e won multiple wives ne estates ene niema obeye wo wiase enti na nei ye bo ne di ma Bob Marley de me mo James Brown me kasa me bobo di na Fela Kuti ma bo ne de ne Nelson Mandela de ne de on de na ye public legal fight court to be miensa abusuafo bia de omo de ko different courts muntie Nelson Mandela de no mubehu Olumba de no the family were fighting over the control of his name. Wamu ne benya ni din ne se ye be wato ato aso no edin Mandela ne emfri Mandela ne enye ni din ne ye fe ne Madiba ena ode Mandela ne be kan ho ne be ye legendary name ena ne ye busuafo ne ko ho se wamu ne benya control over the name and image of Mandela ene yegusu ekoso disagreement hwan na ye ne ba hwan na nya ne ba hwan wo ware no hwan wo anware no eda so a ekoso in his will omu detail ye no ama conflict na ntwa because ebi mu ho mu dia mpie wo will no ma court se ebe ma omu ne ma ne bi meka se mekeka na makobo Lucky Dube unim se on de wu ya abra ye meda no asat now 4 families are claiming the properties 4 families ebi ho a wote ase ye hu omo da Lumba de bia obe wukura ne enim se oni oba bi nete emema ne bi ho mo ware ya ye hu da bako eno no Kwame Nkrumah ewum meka se me bobo a eya na eye edin no ena unrecorded wealth omo be ko ho because enye sika na eda bank no ba ebi hu ne se Lumba wawui 50 years e chisika ebe generate aba no ebe boa ye ma ne ye mana na abi enti ye mtena ho e ma ne nkosa akwa ya ye musicians be enan ana miensa ye afinie. The difference between them and Daddy Lumba is what is going on. Me a list of more than 200 global icons from biblical years till now omu echi nsemasi krata ekutami in the Superior Court of Judicature in the High Court of Justice Kumasi. The case between Akosua Sewa Fusu or say name near present na uhu medika achirichi mu address na ye Schwasta Bornheim Germany versus Abusuapanyi Kofi Owusu Abuakwa Priscilla Ofori aka Odobroni Accra and a Transitions Funeral Home we mu na ye the 3 defendants. First defendant Abusuapanyi Kofi Owusu, second defendant Odobroni, and a third defendant Transitions Funeral Home. Na asama oba na hwehweni Lumba ne yire Akosua Sewa ose Abusuapanyi Kofi Owusu ene oba ye fra no Priscilla Ofori aka Odobroni ene baby a yedi nipa ekokora bia a ye fra ho Transitions Funeral Home no sa nipa miensen omo nyina ewo Kumase na asama odi ti omo ne se me Akosua Sewa me de asam we aba court na me command mo se within 8 days a mo nsa beka kratai a ene a me ma mo krata ne ka ho no e wo se mo ba court na mo be ye den o se mo ba wo Abusuapanyi Kofi Owusu wo Priscilla Ofori a ye fra wo Odobroni ene mo adwumaku e fra mo Transitions Funeral Home ade a ye de bre mo ne se mo ya ade a e kire se mo bu mmra so enti mu meyi ano manu ye ne se me lawyerfo e na mama matro ensem yi e de agu krata so me nsam a me penie de edi kan me Akosua Sewa Fosu de me ka kire mo me ensa nyina ne se efri na akoi abrante e fa no Charles Kwadwo Fosu no me enko ani na me ye ni kunani e wose mo me ensa mo getum de edi kan no de etoso mienu court yi enka kire mo se me nko a na me wo right tie de edi kan yo me nko na me ye kunani 1 de etoso mienu me nko na me wo right ne se kunafo obi wo e from se odi kuna me boa amamre omo ye no aha me nko na e wo se me di kuna e wo ayie na se ene ebre a ye be ye ayie no de etoso miensa se court na gidi mienu no potumu a me sa ka kire de otoso mienu defendant second defendant na ye friend Odobroni ne se man number bia emmo ne ho safo hene se oye Lumba kuna ni ana kuna fo man nkari ne ho ne number bia se ono ye surviving spouse ne yire no ware ye no meka ho bi enti misu adi kuna enema miensa me penie na obekirechire mu yie die nti a niema miensa we court no emfama no die di kan wasan de na address na biem o se me Akosua Sewa me ye Owura Charles Kwadwo Fosu Daddy Lumba ne yire Daddy Lumba wa film number 2 o se me ne me kunu Kwadwo Fosu ye ware on the 23rd day of December 2004 and watro our German law and I the German imra and ye de ware ye let us say civil marriage registry department our Bornheim Germany Na nipa odi kan a oyɛ first defendant e fe no owura fosui ana owusu opanyin. Papa no onna ya busua panyin edema Daddy Lumba wa free me. Na busua ote abu akwa. Na de otoso mienu enso a oyɛ defendant yi ye fe no Odobroni ono nso e allege onam baabi e bɔ ne ho safo hema ase oyɛ Lumba kunafo. De otoso enum. De otoso third defendant no ono nso yɛ registered funeral home a yɛde efunu ekoto ho. Ono nso adi funu no de ato ho. Na me akosu ase wade me kan se me nko na me yɛ Daddy Lumba ne yere a ɔware no ɛwɔ mmra kwan so. Ɔde Charles Kwadwo Fosu in capital letters and ɔde aka Daddy Lumba in capital letters. Na me akosu ase wa me san ka che court yi se abra na obewu no na ya ware no egusu agina mu dendenden. Na mom Daddy Lumba no onye Ghana ni nko a ɔyɛ Germany ni. Oye resident of Germany okuta Germany passport and one me ware wo Germany mram se wamfa wo ya ma na ekire se nke betima ka se Ghana ni di ontimi fofa Germany mram ware ana ba ma me ne pese osisu biem se oye Germany ni na mesumi Germany ni ye nyina ye resident of Germany ana German na ya ware wo Germany mram na de etosonson me akosu asewa me pese me ma mu se abra na ya ware no ye tena Germany so. Na die enti a meke kansem ni se me won nsam miensa a mpese be de to manim. Maboso de atremu a mabe kirechiremu no. Abraham ni Kwadwo Fosu ware ye no point number 8. O say there were 3 issues. Okomremu a lawyer for say issues eche nkwada. Nti uti baby a woka say we had 3 issues and I said there were 3 issues between us and I say ye wo miensa. And wadi omudi aba I Calvin Kwadwo Fosu who is 31 years now. Charlin Fosu 24 years and a Sierra Fosu 20 years. Or say omomi ensa and ye the issues and enkwada ye wo mo. Obano nensem no monto mo bona muntie. De etoso enkron. Or say me akosu asewa Fosu. Me pesa me mamu say the said Charles Kwadwo Fosu Daddy Lumba no he died on the 26th day of July 2025. At the time the marriage was subsisting in Ghana. And there were preparations underway to perform his burial and final funeral rite in December without recourse to the plaintiff. Or say, ono akosu asewa no, ono ye kunafo. But yashisha ye, I am mona manie. Enti the American say, I am the only surviving spouse, and she is required to perform the widowhood rite. Wasan besi subim. Say, ono de watreche mi chire se ono ye kunafo a also ye kunafo mamre ewa ye nase. Or say, on the plaintiff avers that, however, the first defendant, who has the responsibility of organizing the final funeral rite as the head of the family, has informed her she will not be allowed to perform the widowhood rite. Or say, Abusia Panino, I can't tell you, say, Omano enyesa, eye kunafo, kun omani ni kuna, tiawa. The atoso eye edumiensa. Or say, the plaintiff avers that the first defendant has also indicated that he will rather permit the second defendant to perform widowhood rite. Abusuapanyi ne say, the obema na di kuna wa yi na se. Eye Odobroni. We asema. Maame akosu ase wadi tuja. The etoso eye edunum. Or say, the edunai, the plaintiff avers that the second defendant cannot legally perform the widowhood rite as she was never married to the deceased. Or say, look, Daddy Lumba no. Ontumi ma Odobroni emedini kuna because wanware no. And will say, the plaintiff further avers that the first and second defendants have already started printing invitation letters containing the telephone number of the second defendant towards the organization. Or say, Courty in Santinjum send some making the Ebema Wajia dine say, Oma print invitation letter midinim. Number at that invitation letter nesono, Ayo Obana. Abusiana se ombema na dikuna no ne number de daso e kire se de omo ka no omo ma no abeye ho enye rudu rada sem no omo ka. 16 or say the plaintiff avers that unless the court intervenes she will be deprived of her right as the only surviving spouse. Or say amamre mu no se court mo amamu no omo ye wi a amamre beje atum se mekura Lumba no manware no because wa ni kuna wa anware nti se mo anye sa no omo ye ni December 6 wi a mokume mene me ma na mesa aba point 16 we so timema nana boya kaime 17 or say me akosua se wano me jitum said that the lumba ye de ni funu na kwa akoto transitions na transition for no so modi beto hono second defendant e friend Odobroni no ono ne di animu ma ye de bae na mo so magye ato ho no pesa mo so mu hu say mo prepare funu no mo ne first defendant abusuapanyi ene second defendant na mo ko prepare funu no oba kunafo ene so mabusuafo me yekohwe ba bia ni kunu da na esiesie no o ma mfre no bi ama na anko enti transition for no so a ye de se o patch say ade na koye chronode ene ye de abremo mo so mo anhwe yi a mo ka ho bi 19 me bewie or say wherefore the plaintiff claim against the defendant jointly and severally is for the following reliefs and yama or hwehwe no e wasan boso e 9 me wie no an order for this honorable court declaring that plaintiff is the only surviving spouse of Charles Kojo Fosu men kwa na me yekunafo we na me pesa mo ye mame second unse odi kan kono or the niema no koi court we na me diaba nemu we na pesa mo ye mame second an order of this court declaring that it is only the plaintiff who has the right to perform with samen kwa na me na iredia men kwa na we se medikuna. Third, a further order restricting the first defendant from ever dealing with the second defendant as a spouse. Abusuano court unshese mo ne Odobroni nkohia enkofa ye ne ho adwene. Mo man position bia e kire se on na ye kunafo. And a last one, an order restraining the second defendant from carrying herself as a surviving spouse. Se akosia se wa kwotena Odobroni kwotena radio bi so interview bi ana oba ye na se na ne conduct osu de ntoma abonimu e de niema ahyehye na ye bebo ne se kunafo a ene yie no asem besi tisi no de ohwehwe no enyina enie ayie no se niema wei antumi amaso de a na abayewa no ana amaame akosu asewa obetimi e de injunction atoso a eda no ntumi nko na de medi etwa to ne se under customary law eno a lawyer for a many omudi nkomo ansa na meba ne bebre na nam Kojo Fosu nti obi ampese obeden obekasa wo ho ebi che se oye legend ye ntumi mbeka but omo say de ebetimi aka ato ne say Ghana mrem customary law no abusuafo extended family se obi wu a omo ene kire hwan ehefa da ben ye beye na yi ne yire no oni bibika ye mremu no ye customary law mu no Ghana se obi wu a abusuafo extended family na kire eda ye beye na yi fa ko ebeye na yi se de yie ni besi aye no oyire eni bika efa ho ne madie ye betimi afre omo se omo mra mehwe bi efunu no nso eye abusuafo dia otiase a oye ne yire dia eda obewu pe oye the property of the family ne yire no ba bi omudi funu no bekwa akosie uni bika wo ho enti se aware no na court ewo German law efa ho a efunu no de Ghanaian customary law na ebedi nachi agese that the lumba nankasa ye will se owu a opese ne yire akosua se wade ne ko Germany kosie no na oni bibisa ne de efunu ne abusuafo na japade de omo pe na omo de ye enti eno eye de yenka entwiato nemum akire ne yebehwe ne will a oyeye no se wanya bidia Odobroni emma ne nyina de yebeche bia ombenya bi obi a oneda de lumba wu ye bia wa wore washiwa ebe Bob Marley, Michael Jackson, Nelson.
Enti abusia Sadiq Adams enka ne nanka ye friend Sports Obama ono na akyerɛkyerɛ n'adwen ɛwɔ hɔnom no enti no Daddy Lumba sisi a me ne wo kasa die na yie no sɛ ebenya amba so sɛ enya amba so emre ne nkrabea na ɛbɛkyerɛ akosu asewa a okrem sɛ ono na ɛyɛ Daddy Lumba ne yere preko pa kyerɛ sɛ obia enka ho bi no ne nsɛm a ɔde akwakodan court ɛno no ɔkyerɛ mu a 1 nsɛm no de ɛdɔɔso bibirina na ya brobro so akyerɛ wo enti yegu so de ani edi akyire de besi bia no ai yebema waso ate na ayie no so de eba so a live coverage ni nyina no ɛha ya ɛna obenya no na me sorry so idie na memfa aseda ema A1 Detergent Company Limited A1 say men kan kyerɛ sɛ sisi a me ne wo kasa idie omode product foforo kra ba dwaman so a omato ne din A1 adata seminar mixture seminar we eboa ye papa seminar bi a se wunya bi na wodi dware a eboa ema o skin no etoso bibia kama kroro se mampere nkrosa bia ego ho no seminar yi ebeboa etu ni nyina ase de afiri honom ai ma amfere wase pimples ni amanketenkete bia egugu ho na mani a udware a na ho kekaw wo yesi ana wutiti ho na yesi ema ensansan agu ni nyina no ni nyina saa seminar no nyade a eboa enti bomodi ana kope A1 omo alata seminar make sure bi na fa dware na bibia enkoyi enya no nkwa no omo shower gel ewo ho omo liquid soap after wash bar soap and afi parasol ade bia edisi efie de bomodi ana kopie mu ewo omaso ye na emom se bia open dodo atu aton a bomodi ana se obefre number sia egu screen ya si 0545074743 ana se 0244877956 omaso ye no ewo oboase chechire eho na obehu A1 Detergent Company Limited omaso ye kese no ebia opebia tu aton a na wakopie mu ewo honom saa so na ebia opeba akomienu bi ato shops and supermarkets a okumasi ade ene oboase ba bia obepie mu bia no obenye bi ato saa so na oba Santase opposite market Divine Media Ghana ye Fondex so a obenye bi ato saa pepepe enetie ewo ehonom A1 asuyeye eno no saa esona traffic foods esemen kan kyerɛ sɛ wo UK wo US wo Canada wo pe local food me kyerɛ nduane a ye wo Ghana ha nyinaa bi adidi abomode ana kopie mu ewo omasuyeye omo the Church of Pentecost Cleveland Avenue Columbus Ohio eho na obehu traffic foods ai omasuyeye na eho na ewo na emum o pese yenye delivery emfa mawo ewo ba bia wo bia na wo de da wo dem na bomode afa number si +1 567 3566 387 and I say +1 141 93 02 6994 we place you order baby a wo bia no omo de bebro hye no so say numbers ya me de tu dwan WhatsApp pe na won sa be kan omo traffic food so say aduane papa fie enti abusua ene ha ene yedu besi dad lumba sisi amene wo kasa idie mesanso asisu biem se na yie no omo de injunction atoso senia ne yere akosi ase wa osie ero no ose obi ani ho kwan se obeye kurani ewo dad lumba ayase agise ono nko a enti no wo so feel free na kire wadwen ewo comment section ho efa emame ewo honom bidin a mede so Kojumen channel so say ha Divine Media Ghana mesra say oba click subscribe button so na fe wa click bell notification icon for latest updates Facebook TikTok Instagram X bebia obehu ye edino Divine Media Ghana mame fast da kase emma PSA tiwa ono na yeme producer obo machidom emma mfoni a won saka ye nyina no ono na tran fidi na echinchin bibia emamede breo medu besi ha na makra nyame ya adoma da sende ye besan so ahia hwe ho so yi makra bye bye.